Welcome back to NYCFC Fireside with your boys Alex and Juan Carlos. We got a lot to talk about, obviously coming off the draw this past weekend, and there's a lot going on in this NYCFC team. Getting Santi back, James Sands, a lot of turnover, and we're adding some nice talent that's going to start to assimilate into this team and hopefully give us a nice little advantage and boost as the season goes on here. But to start off, we kind of want to talk about Brad Sims, CEO of NYCFC. Obviously, as you guys know, Juan Carlos had the pleasure of going to the opening gala for the team and learned a lot about kind of the future of this club and what they're trying to do, how much is invested in the stadium, and everything they're trying to build in the community is obviously a super important variable and catalyst in the expansion of this club and making it more of an important thing in New York City and the New York State and obviously MLS in general. So really excited to break that down for you guys. But Juan Carlos, my friend, how you doing today?
Good, man. Thank you for having me. Another episode, and yeah, let's break it down. Hopefully, you guys get some insight as to like how the team is looking at, the immediate future. Because of course, they want to, get started on the stadium. They want to get started on their vision, and yeah, hopefully, fans are excited for what they're about to bring.
Absolutely. So, you were there and you had first-hand experience to what Brad Sims was saying. Obviously, CEO of the team, very well-spoken, and really gave us a lot of information about where this club is going and how important the stadium in Willets Point is going to be. And, one of the most interesting things that I actually remember him saying was that he's not interested in getting big names. You see the Xherdan Shaqiris of the world, the Gonzalo Higuains of the world. You remember the David Villas, the Frank Lampards, and Andre Pirlo. You see all these big names, but they don't always equal success, as we've seen in the most recent past with NYCFC. Maxi Morales, a lot of guys that, maybe not known on a global scale, but certainly known at the MLS level, and certainly very, very good players in their own respect. So, looking at what NYCFC is trying to build here, they're trying to, utilize their youth development programs, build some strong teams, not through big names, but through just good chemistry and good players and reasonable contracts. Obviously, the salary cap still exists. So, tell me about your thoughts on that and anything else that Brad Sims said and that you learned during the gala.
Well, like you said, a lot of fans, even before this, I get a lot of feedback on my social media. Everyone's like, what's going on with, a big name? Why is everyone else getting big names? Higuain, Jobinko, now I think Kamara with Chicago Fire. So all these big names that come from Europe and wanted do this, this move, and everyone's saying, why hasn't NYCFC been able to do this since we already had this before? So what I've always tried to say is that the team is trying to build a long-term process and a long-term program for the team, investing, like you said, in the future, in young players. So I kind of did go into that question, trying to see if Brad Sims was gonna be yeah, we're gonna bring another big name, just expected, but again, the team is trying to build with the academy, build with local talent, with the stadium as well. So from then on, I believe, the people, I think, got to be patient. He didn't really rule out the fact that they might bring someone else with a big reputation in the future. But for now, I think the main focus is we have really local talent. We have low-key or low-profile players, but the players that we bring in are really good and they really fit well, and and the chemistry works. Why go away from the winning formula per se? When we saw that Tati Castellanos, Maxi Morales, all really came through and pulled it through and gave us 2 trophies and put us in the highlight of the MLS. Why go away from that when everything is working?
Well, that's the thing, why go away from that if it's working? Obviously, NYCFC is kind of going through an interesting transition phase right now. And in fact, you were the one that asked the question regarding, which is awesome.
Yeah.
Our own guy at ESM doing the heavy lifting, and it's awesome to see. Obviously, this is a big opportunity for us to start to showcase the level of quality of content that we're going to display for you guys if you're listening to this episode right now. But Juan Carlos, before we jump over to the Chicago Fire NYCFC game, obviously ended up up in a draw. Not ideal, not exactly what we hoped for. But is there anything from the gala that you want to touch on before we head over there?
Well, yeah, I mean, from what I learned and from what I saw, from what I heard as well, the team really wants to invest in the community. The team really wants to revitalize the area of Queens where the stadium is going to be built at. So, they're looking to build more like small soccer fields, like to get like kids involved. Like I said in the beginning, kind of rambling about it, but like they want to invest in the future. They know that Queens is a really big hit in terms of soccer, and they want to build more programs, like coaching, after school programs. Like the whole plan itself is to build like, housing. I think they want to build a hotel as well. So from then on, more signings as well that they announced that they were coming before the home opener. So, aside from James Sands and Santi coming back, I believe there's one or two more names coming up in the next couple of days. So from then, yeah, I think in terms of like what the team wants, just they want people to like stick to the team. They want people to just continue supporting, believe in the future of the organization and believe that, the team is gonna bring big things for the 2026 World Cup, because that's the goal, But yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, I mean, the community outreach, as you mentioned, is a huge variable for all sports. You look at NFL level, they have community outreach programs going into the high school, middle school level. Baseball, same thing. Hockey, obviously, you have more of an international kind of landscape there. Basketball, they're going all the way until middle school. They're really developing players for, in these youth teams that are just phenomenal. And MLS hasn't really set that stage yet, hasn't really built that foundation in terms of accessing people like kids at a younger level and then developing them over time and putting together these really exciting clubs. I've played club soccer when I was a kid. I played against PSG. I played against, some MLS teams when they were quite new to the scene. And it was competitive, but not so much. There wasn't anyone that really was like excellent. It was pretty baseline stuff. And, obviously a lot of things go into developing really great international players as well. When it comes to the USMNT, you look at what happened because of COVID. They lost all their funding for the U.S. men's national team development, all the academies there. And those are the same academies that developed, Giovanni Reyna, Serginho Dest, Weston McKennie, Christian Pulisic. You see all these, even Tyler Adams, obviously came through the Red Bulls. So you see like there are the USMNT, kind of program helped develop a lot of these players. Tyler Adams comes through the Red Bulls program, which is kind of a sneak peek at what these MLS teams are trying to accomplish and setting the stage and building that foundation of youth development. And NYCFC, while a little bit behind because they are a newer club, still trying to make inroads. A great way to do that is community outreach programs, building soccer fields, making it a more prevalent factor and variable in our like local society. So I think that's a very beautiful thing they're trying to accomplish here. But I'll tell you what, looking at the team right now, looking at the game we just experienced, not the result we wanted, right? Not the result we wanted, but we learned a lot. And the one thing I learned is that we need to finish better. We could have won this game 4-5-1. There were opportunities that we squandered that should have been easy goals. Chanot, good God, man. We're 2 feet away from the goal. Okay, maybe he didn't see it coming. It hits his head and goes straight over the bar. You have to put those away. Those go on to not, come on, man, Sports Center, the failures of the week.
Yeah,
that's
the
one of the things.
The not top 10. Yeah, I mean,
exactly.
In that play, like, in all fairness, like, if you see the replay, he's already, like, kind of inside the goal, like, with the defender, like, on top of him. And by the time he realizes he's going to hit the ball, like, like, he hits it over the top. So, like, I think he didn't really see it as, like, that's what I want to think. I want to think that he didn't see it and, like, he just, like, got hit with the ball. Because that's what I felt happened. But, like, I think sometimes, soccer is about luck as well, Some days, shots that go in, don't go in, and shots that, are not meant to go in, go in. Look at the goal that they, like, scored against us, that deflection. So, like, it's all part of the game, I guess. But, yeah, I do believe that we need to, like, keep scoring. But I do believe also that we saw some progress, like, against Nashville. Like, we didn't really see any touches inside the opponent's box. And now, with Micha Ilinic and like, Gabi Pereira taking the number 9 spot as well. Like we saw that improvement. So I think we're in the right track. I don't know if you saw the same way.
Yeah, I mean, I think that we definitely took a step in the right direction, for sure. I mean, look, Chicago's not a bad team. They got Shaqiri. They have some good players over there. They didn't look so good in the first half. I think we actually dominated them in the first half. And then the second half, they kind of fought back into the game. Of course, you have the deflection off of Magno. That's unfortunate. It happens. Like you said, it's a little bit of luck involved. Barraza might have gotten there. He looked like he was diving. It could have gone in, but it looked like he had it covered. Obviously, good shot nonetheless. Tons of power behind it. Who knows what would have happened? But deflection, goal, it happens. The problem with that is when you have opportunities to put the goal in the back of the net, you need to take them, because when you have unlucky situations like that where it bounces off Magno and goes down and gives them a goal, it makes the importance of converting those high probability opportunities that much more, just impactful. The shot, I forget who it was. It was 1v1 with the goalie. Goes around, obviously it gets blocked. I think, what's his name? Spencer Ritchie jumps down and
Pereira, I think.
Pereira, and he jumps down. It was a nice save, right? It was a nice save.
It was
but
a nice
save. It's a shot you gotta convert. You gotta slide down on the ground. You can't put height on that.
Yeah, but that's the thing, though. You see, that's where like confidence comes into play as well. Like in that moment or in that play, you saw that Pellegrini, like was not really not confident about the shot, and when you're like in your moment, and when you're like scoring goals back to back, any little moment, any little window like goes in, and you know how to shoot it. And like in that one-on-one situation, he just didn't feel confident. So like when you're like doubtful, like even if you have like an easy open shot, like it's not gonna go in. Like he was just not like in that type of position. But like again, like give it time. Again, luck has a lot to do with it. But like go ahead. Like in the first chances of the match, Jason, that rebound, that was unlucky. It's like he went against the post. So like I think we're being a little bit too harsh, but it's just part of the game. I feel like for the home opener, we're gonna be a bit better.
I definitely hope so in that regard. But you say we're being a little harsh, and I think that's fair. We're 2 games into the season. We're not going crazy. We're not being sensational about anything. But I will say this: good teams convert chances, right?
Yeah, of course.
Why do you think people hate Darwin Nunez so much until the last 2 weeks? He couldn't freaking score for his life, but now he's putting them home, and everyone loves him. So, putting home chances, converting chances. Now, Gabriel Pereira obviously was a phenomenal
that was a great shot.
Right? Phenomenal shot. It really took his time, picked out a corner, picked out a moment, and took advantage of it. That's, composed finishing, right? That was the only shot in that game from NYCFC that felt like it was a composed finish, and it felt like it was tailored, it was, picked out nicely and converted well. The other ones just felt like they were scrambling. It just felt like they had possession, they had opportunities. Of course, that back pass that ends up in Chicago's lap that I don't know how the guy doesn't score. That's just another embarrassing. That those type of things cannot happen.
Well, but that's also something that I talk about. Chicago is like opening their season like last night against us that already have like 1 game in hand. So like those little 2 difference in momentums like really like take into part. I guarantee you, if like they already played last week and the same play happens, like they score that chance. So some little things to take into consideration to like actually be like, what, we were lucky, but like that cannot happen. Of course, the play was, that back pass was a bit unlucky, but like again, those things cannot happen. Again, the goal as well. Like you saw, like the set piece, it was like Kamara was like completely unmarked. That was not supposed to happen. Like it was a unlucky deflection, but like you don't leave like your opponent like totally unmarked on a set piece. So like little things that we need to work on. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, look, we're getting there. Again, it's a long
Okay.
season. Obviously, things are going to be progressing naturally as you add pieces back to the mix. Santi did not get that much playing time. Obviously, like, just got announced on Friday, and then suddenly, you know, they
But he
need
did
him.
good. But did you see how good he was within this little minutes that he got? Like,
Yep.
that switch was amazing. Like,
It's
you know,
amazing.
we talked about, like, you know, how Pellegrini and Santi were just going to be, like, kind of interchanging. But you saw a difference as soon as he stepped into the field. He went and did that cross, and that almost ended up in a goal, but got blocked. So, like, there's going to be that, you know, that competition for that spot. So it's going to be interesting.
Absolutely. Well, taking a look at some of the statistics from this game, you look at the match stats, possession's about 50-50. So even there, shots on goal, NYCFC had 3 shots on goal compared to Chicago's 1. 9, both teams had 9 total shots. So you're looking at 3 compared to 1. You have to convert those, obviously. I don't even think that the Chanot airmail was considered a shot on goal. I think it was just considered a shot. Fouls, you know, NYCFC has 19 fouls compared to 15. Obviously playing more of an aggressive game. Yellow cards, 2. Offsides, 2 for Chicago. Corner kicks, 6-4 in favor of Chicago. And then a couple saves for the Fire as well. 2 saves compared to 0 from NYCFC. The defense looks solid. Like, I actually thought that the defense, Kufre,
Kufre, I told you. Kufre, I told you Kufre. I told you Kufre was
James Sands clearly helped out significantly on the defensive side. There was a good defensive performance from NYCFC. Just a stupid deflection ends up being the difference there, right? But I liked what I saw in that regard.
Yeah, I mean, if you saw Ilinic, like, that kid impressed me. Like, you saw what the coach said in the post-match press conference as well. Like, he connected with Gabi Pereira, like, so much down that, like, right-hand side that, you know, it was just, like, those two plus the Keaton Parks also was able to make more of, like, free movements along the field. So, you know, but again, you know, I think the most negative point, like, for another week is, like, Thales Magno not being, like, involved. Like, you know, last night was only, like, Ilinic, Jason, and Gary Pereira. So, what do you think about that point? Like, you know...
I mean, you know exactly what I think about that point. He should not be the number 9. I mean, this is what we've been discussing. You know,
he should not be the number 9. But again, also something that the coach pointed out last night as well after the match was the fact that at some point or like throughout, like, you know, halftime, he made the point. He pointed out that he told the team to pass the ball to Gabi Pereira. So unless he's gonna be the new 9,
I don't know, man.
I don't know. How did you see his performance though? Like, I feel like he had like 2 passes where like he did some pretty good 9 kind of style movements. So I'd rather see him after the goal yesterday as well. Like, I'd rather see him as a 9 instead of Thales Magno. But yet again, you know, long season ahead.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, look, here's the thing. I will continue to see Magno as a left winger. That is what.
Yeah.
I mean, look. You look at their formation. You look at who's playing on the left side. And you have Jasson. It's not the same as having Magno. I mean, the problem here is that you don't have your true number 9, and they're trying to use Magno as his number 9 because he's like arguably their best player. If you put him at left wing, you allow him to use that space. And here's the thing. There were a couple of occasions where NYCFC like had some opportunities down the right wing, and Magno ends up on the right wing. Like, why is he the number 9, but he's somehow ending all the way on the boundary? It's because he wants to be on the boundary. He's gravitating there because that's where he naturally wants to be, and he finds himself out of position because of that. If you have him playing on the wing, he will stay there. You know, he's not going to be this free-roaming number 9 where, like, suddenly you don't have a striker if that ball ends up in the place where you need it to be. He needs to be on the wing because he naturally gravitates there, and then suddenly he's pulling himself out of position, and then you have 4 or 5 guys that are bunched up into a space, and you don't need that many players in the same place. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You don't need that.
Too. Yeah.
You don't need 4 or 5 guys in the same space. I mean, that's the entire concept. You have to spread these guys out. You can have 3 guys. Look, okay, for what it's worth, I'm going to make a rash, comparison. And not even comparison, the style of tiki-taka, right? We talk about tiki-taka, MLS players, not not the most accustomed to be able to, operate in a tiki-taka mindset, but I will say this. A lot of what soccer is playing in triangles, right? Triangle is known to be the strongest shape. If you play in triangles, you can maneuver and you can move successfully to open up and clear space out. You don't need 4 or 5 guys to create a triangle. You need 3 players, and you can use your right wing, your right back, and you can use your center midfielder, whether that's Keaton Parks, whether, he's moving up or you have whoever it might be playing in the middle of the field. It could be Andrada for all we know. So, if you have that triangle there, you don't need your number 9 in Talles Magno to be dragging himself out of position, and suddenly you have 4 guys in a condensed space and you have guys out of position. Play with triangles, move with that space, open up that space, and then the more you condense people, the more players you have in the same area, the more defenders are going to be there, and the higher probability they're going to turn the ball over, right? So in my opinion, you need to spread things out a little bit. You need to be a little bit more fundamentally sound. You need to have a better strategy because it feels like they're just a little bit out of position at times.
Yeah, I think unless they're playing as a false 9, unless Talles Magno feels like, you know what, I'm gonna move so I could create space, but I don't feel like his teammates read his movements as well. I mean, his intentions might be good, going down the right, and then GP goes to my side and leave him open, and then they could create chances there. But if they don't get to kind of sink into their movements, he could be on the left, he could be on the right, he could be in the middle, as long as they don't really connect as to how they want to play, we're gonna see this mistake week in, week out. But I don't know, to be honest. Again, Talles Magno just needs to be on the wing. I think that's where we get the best of him, and
totally
shouldn't really be changing there.
Yeah, I mean, look, you mentioned a false 9. If you're playing that, you can have a little bit more room to run. But, when I think of a false 9, I think of a holding, a Messi. Messi plays that false 9, drops back behind the defenders, gets the ball in space. That's a little bit, maybe they want Magno to run a similar role to that, Instead of pushing and making runs behind the defense, they can have him play a false 9, stay in the middle of the field, drop back behind into space, get the ball, and then use his vision to find opportunities. The problem is he holds onto the ball too often and too long. So you can't have him play a false 9. You need to have him playing on the wing where he has space to run and he can take on defenders. Taking on defenders in the middle of the field is only something that Messi can do. That is a Messi thing. That is what he does. He takes guys on in the middle of the field because he is capable. He knows where everybody is. He already has mapped out the entire defense in his head, and he's able to know where to go. The thing is, when you have a player like Magno who wants to take guys on, but he's very he's looking right ahead. He doesn't know where people are around him. The second people converge on him, he's trying to dribble through 3 or 4 defenders. You need him to be one-on-one on the outside. That's where he can really win.
So we need to be at a 4-3-3 system at all times. I think that's the system that fits him best. I think yesterday we were at a 4-2-3-1, I believe.
Yeah, 4-2-3-1.
But 4-2-3-1, yeah. So I don't know. Unless they go, listen, we're not the coach, we're not the technical staff. We see something and they see something else. So unless they're seeing something differently, why not stick to 4-3-3 and just go with it? Get Talles Magno on fire and then start getting some goals. But one thing is what we see again, and the other thing is what they see. So
yeah,
it's gonna be hard to actually agree on how they should play,
No, totally. I mean, I think that you're right, though. I think the 4-3-3 would be a little bit better because... the reason that they play the 4-2-3-1 is because they want those 2 midfielders to stay back, Keaton Parks and James Sands, right? They want those guys to be defensive.
They did good.
And they did good.
And they did good.
The problem with... Okay, so there's a couple things that they can do to try and help their offense a little bit more. They can either play a higher line and try to, play the offside trap, which you can do if your defense has a lot of chemistry, but unfortunately our group doesn't just yet, so probably not the best idea. It's going to be more of a liability. You see Liverpool plays a high line all the time, but the thing is, if you're playing a 4-3-3 and you want to play 2 center mids and then you have a center attacking midfielder, left wing striker, right wing, you can operate a lot better that way. I think if you put Magno at left wing, Pellegrini can play Cam, or instead of Pellegrini playing Cam, you have Santi playing Cam, Pereira at right wing, and then of course at striker you could have Thiago Andrade. The problem is my biggest qualm right now is that NYCFC doesn't have a pure striker. They don't have a pure finisher. Nobody on this team is a pure finisher. They're not there's no holding striker or holding center forward up there. So you need to find that. Like you said, they're going to be adding some more pieces. If they want to do that, it's got to be someone who can finish. Like their entire style is a finisher, and they can hold possession and move it on to guys making runs beyond them on the left and right wing. That's what I see. Or even just holding it off and then feeding it off to Santi at center attacking mid where he can use his vision.
Yeah, exactly. So hopefully, trust me, the team, the fans, not the team itself, but the fans having screaming for a number 9. Since, as soon as they found out that Tati was about to leave, they were like, we need a number 9. Of course, we had Heber at the moment, but, things didn't really work out. Well, it's working out now for him in Seattle. So, some things, are just, crazy how everything works. But, the fact that we haven't really, looked into really getting a number 9, a proper number 9, it's just crazy. And it's been, one season already. So, hopefully, that last movement. I know we're going to have, I think, Ledesma's another midfielder, I think, or a winger also. So, the fact, okay, we welcome wingers. Midfielder is, probably our strongest point. But, if we don't score goals, what's the point of having a strong midfield? So, I don't know. Hopefully, they bring in a number 9 and gets things rolling. Yeah.
I mean, look, we had Maxi last year and Valentin were easy, they were able to supplement not having a number 9 because they were just such good finishers, right?
I mean, Tati used to do those movements by himself. You saw how he tracked back to defense. You saw how he
good work rate.
Ran for the ball. The work rate, yes. So he jumped. He went for headers. So, we don't really see that of course, they go front, they take shots, but, you don't really see that work rate in any of the strikers or the attacking players. Not that they don't have it, but, they have other abilities and other skill sets that Tati didn't have. So but we need to go to the market and see a 9.
Yeah, hopefully. But guys, I'd love to hear perspectives below in the YouTube comments. Make sure to like and subscribe as always to NYCFC Fireside. We got weekly episodes coming out, maybe more than that sometimes. Definitely going to be following the team throughout the season. Of course, we're going to be doing some really cool exclusive content. Juan Carlos is going to be getting all that good stuff for you guys. So make sure to follow him on Twitter and the NYCFC Fireside Twitter account, Instagram and TikTok. We got you guys covered on all fronts. Much love as always. Like I said before, like, subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and we'll catch you guys on the next episode.
Bye, guys.